Hello everyone, this is Sam with SaberiSixRealEstate as well as Remax Realtron Realty, back with another video for you guys here today. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the new short-term rental regulations imposed by the city on short-term rental arrangement operators. Most often, let's be honest, 80% to 90% of the time, Airbnb homeowners and renters. Because at the end of the day, most short-term rental arrangements are operated and brokered through Airbnb. So before I get into these regulations and explain to you what they exactly are, because there's I think 4 to 5 main points to discuss here, I would like to draw your attention to my most recent video, which is how the Toronto condo rental units downtown have increased by a factor of 80%. That is, rental units on the market have increased by a factor of 80%. In that video, I explained that there are two main reasons. One reason is that people are moving outside of downtown and moving back to the suburbs. That's the theory going around. And another reason is that a lot of short-term rental options are no longer viable and available for people that as a result, once again, of the pandemic. A lot of Airbnb listings are being taken off the market because there's not a lot of tourism. Thus, that has led to the increase by a factor of 80% of long-term rental units going back onto the market. Now, this news item, the fact that this regulations will be imposed by September 10th, I think is going to further increase that spike. And you're going to see even a more pronounced increase of rental units on the market for long-term arrangements. Lastly, before I explain the regulations, as always, please subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Your support is much appreciated. My contact information is in the description box. And yeah, let's get to it. So let's define short-term rental arrangement. Now, day to day, we might have different definitions, but the way the city is defining it is 28 days or less. Obviously, that means if you sign a lease for 29 days, you're not technically a short-term renter. And most Airbnb arrangements don't even really go up to 28 days. Let's be honest, they're maximum 4 days on average, I would say, from my experience. However, yes, there are 2-week arrangements as well, but anything past that is very rare. Moreover, these regulations I'm about to describe go into effect September 10th. Even though the date is September 10th for the regulations that go into effect, if you are currently renting your Airbnb home and you're booked until September 10th, and afterwards you have until December to register and abide by these new regulations. So they're providing a month or two there for you to get acclimated. So what are these new regulations? Well, first you must register, right? Before this, you didn't really have to register your short-term rental unit whatsoever. All you had to do is really put an ad up on Airbnb or other equivalent websites. Now you have to actually legally register your unit. Furthermore, you can now only short-term rent your principal residence only. Now, this is the biggest, in my opinion. This is the most consequential regulation that they're imposing. Meaning, if you have your principal residence, the place where you sleep, eat, and live, and get your mail, you pay your taxes, your name is on the title, it's not owned by the name of a corporation, basically where you actually live, but you also have a couple of investment condos. You can no longer rent those investment condos for Airbnbs. You must do your principal residence only. Obviously, most people who make side money or their main income is investing in Airbnb properties, they do that with those side investment condos where they don't live there. They probably occupy it with, once again, Airbnbs, or they rent it in long-term arrangement sort of deals. That's no longer the case. You can no longer Airbnb your investment condos or homes wherever they may be in Toronto. You have to now Airbnb your principal residence if you choose to Airbnb at all. The second piece of regulation I want to touch on is the time frame. How long can you Airbnb your principal residence for? You can rent up to 3 bedrooms in your principal residence for a unlimited times per year, or rent the entire house for short-term arrangements for maximum 180 days per year. Meaning, if you have a, let's say, 4-bedroom house, one of those bedrooms you don't really use, you can rent that bedroom however many times you want in a calendar year. And obviously that goes up to 3 bedrooms. However, that 4th bedroom, no, you cannot rent all 4 bedrooms for unlimited amount of times a year. And let's say you do have a condo or you do have another house and you want to live in that house, not your principal residence. Well, your principal residence, you can only rent up the entire thing for a maximum of 180 days per year, and that's it. The third piece of regulation I want to draw your attention on is a new tax imposed on these unit owners. It's called a MAT tax, a Municipal Accommodation Tax, where the owner of the unit has to pay that tax of 4% quarterly to the city. This is starting on January 21st, not the September 10th date or the December date. Lastly, you can't host Airbnb and short-term rental arrangements in a secondary suite in your principal residence. In most cases, the secondary suite is a basement, as long as obviously the basement meets the regulations and the city inspectors have provided you with consent, claiming that this is suitable to be rented out in the first place. Provided all that, assuming all that, you can rent out your secondary unit, your secondary suite, which is a basement in most cases, as long as obviously it meets the other criteria, right? It has to be in your principal residence still, right? If it's not in your principal residence, you can't rent out the basement because you can't rent out the whole thing whatsoever, right? Those are the regulations. I hope this was informative. If you have any more questions, my email is in the description box. So is my number and my office where you can find me at. This is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate, as well as Remax Realtron Realty Inc. Get in touch if you have any questions. Subscribe. Don't subscribe if you don't want to, and dislike if you thought this was a bad video. But if you didn't, like, and yeah, thanks for watching.